Okay, this is a McDonnell Miller water feeder for a steam furnace system. At some point recently it stuck open, meaning it was continuously feeding water into the steam system, and that is a very bad thing. Now, on that subject, I've talked to some plumbers and they just dislike even having one of these at all, because they object at a very fundamental level to having a flaky device hooked up to the plumbing system that's allowed to feed water into your house. That aside, we kind of need one of these. So what's the solution here? I read up and I found that a crudded up diaphragm in the solenoid valve is often the culprit. And so this is a diaphragm, and you can see that it's crudded up. So the answer is to just buy a new diaphragm, put it in, and everything will be fine. Now, McDonnell Miller do not have parts availability, no parts diagrams, nowhere that you can see a parts breakdown, and no parts availability. So as such, that is a very bad thing. But it turns out there are people who have done the work, and this is a new diaphragm that fits. So it's simple enough to pull it apart. You just pull the front off, pull the circuit board out, unscrew the body from the brass valve body. But in doing that, one of the screws in the valve body sheared, and here is that valve body, and the screw that's sheared is the one right by my thumb there. Now that's a steel screw in a brass body. That would be very difficult to get out with drilling and whatever other nonsense you wish to bring to bear. So now I'm really screwed. My water feeder is dismantled and I can't really put it back together. So what I did is I looked at this, and it turns out it says S45 and Inversys and other part numbers. So this is a standard part. It is not made by McDonnell Miller. It's made by somebody else, and it's a relatively standard solenoid valve. Now, I need a 120 volt AC solenoid valve set up, and there's dozens of different setups like 12 volt DC and all that kind of stuff. But it turns out I just needed the body, so it didn't matter what the solenoid part was. I just needed the valve body. So do some web searching, compare the images, look on eBay, stuff like that. Long story short, I got a new one of these and was able to assemble it into the pipe at the back, build everything back on top. Of course, I used my existing solenoid instead of the solenoid that came with that valve, put it all back together, and it works. So in summary, McDonnell Miller, their devices are supposed to be quite good. I mean, the plumbers acknowledge that they are a good brand, even though they don't like water feeders. I would say, no matter how good you think the brand is, it is inherently bad that they do not offer parts availability. But on the flip side, with a ton of research, you can actually figure out certain parts that are replaceable and repair one of these things, rather than paying $200 or $300 for a new one. And I'll leave a couple of links down in the description under the video so that you can find that.